Welcome to the OFF-LMTS Podcast. I'm your host, Josiah, and I'm here today with a very important guest. This guest is enthusiastic and focused in his industry. He makes sure that he puts in more than 100% into his craft and to make sure that he stays on top. Even through the hard times and even through the failures, he strives on. Without further ado, let's get started. But before we start, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. Remember, you're here for a reason, and there's a reason why this is off-limits.
Hey, Emmanuel, it's nice to see you,
Yeah,
bro. It's nice to see you. How you doing?
doing good, doing good. Nothing major going on right now. So yeah, how about you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Really good. I mean, excited to have you on here. I mean, first guest,
Yeah,
but glad to have you on here. Honestly,
it's
amazing
a
to have you
pleasure.
on here. Very, very big pleasure. For the people who don't know you, and for the people who want to get to know you, how do you introduce yourself by your name and what you do?
All right, so my name is Emmanuel Bradley. I'm 17 years old, born in Halifax, West Yorkshire, and I'm a racing driver and business owner.
Born and raised in Halifax. How's it
Yep.
like growing up in the countryside?
The view is quite nice, definitely. It's like a 5-10 minute drive out, and you're already pretty rural. It's nice and quiet. But you've also got plenty of shopping, education around, so it's not bad. It's not bad.
When you compare it to like places like London, for example, places that are always busy and always out and about, basically frantic, how does that work? How do you find it?
London, like a city like London, that's pretty much every Yorkshire person's worst nightmare. It's just street, too confusing.
I
Whereas, like
believe
where I
it.
live, we've just got one main road, then
Mm.
a few little side roads. That's it, pretty much.
Well,
It's really simple living up here. Town centre as well. Sometimes busy, sometimes really empty. Just depends on
mhm.
the day and the time. But yeah.
When you talked about you becoming an athlete, what was the time or the decision that you want to become an athlete? What influenced you to become one?
Uh, I've loved racing pretty much all my life. Um, so I was just trying to think, how can I get started years ago? Mainly in lockdown, especially. I was like, right, once these lockdowns are over, I just want to have a go at it, see what I can do, see where I go from there. Then 2021, made the decision to go out to my first race, and about 2 years later, almost, here I am.
And you talked about during lockdown, so like someone who's always active and has to remain active, like a runner, for example. How did you maintain the level of focus and dedication into your craft during that lockdown period when everything was behind closed doors? And even for like entertainers like me, for example, when it comes to like acting and everything's shut down, you have to like try and make sure you're at the peak of your talents, especially during that time, because you never know
Yeah.
when you call up for a self tape or something. So how did you cope as an athlete during lockdown?
During lockdown, when it comes to the physical stuff, I just do whatever I need to do in my room, just do some workouts at home, training my neck, arms, legs, whatever. And also got to keep myself mentally prepared as well. That's an important part of being an athlete. So just trying to keep myself motivated, keep myself optimistic, if you will, for the future, see what it holds.
So, was there any special training or any preparation that you did, like races, for example? They use sim racing for like MotoGP if they have like a driving wheel, they use it for the
Yeah,
virtual formula and whatnot. So, what did you do during that time to make sure that you're at the peak of your talents, except from exercise?
I did a lot of reaction time tests. So I'd get an app or go to a website where you've just got this simple to complex reaction time starter thing. And just keep on doing it over and over and over to the point where it just felt second nature, something I do all the time. And that's really helped me in the long run.
You said that you started off with this inspiration and huge desire to become a racer from a
Yeah,
young age, right? So growing up in a small town of Halifax, and you said that the schools are local and everything else is local. And when you went into school, was there any difference? Did you realize that there was a difference between you and your peers when it comes to like different goals or dreams or desires?
definitely. Yeah. I think a lot of people in terms of sports, especially, the main focus on like football and rugby, cricket even, like the main sports, like the more popular ones. So I feel like me being into racing, it felt a bit almost like an outlier, a bit odd sometimes, but end of the day, it's each of their own. You do what you want to do.
And when it came to like education or whatnot, did you enjoy reading, homework, and when it comes to like being in class and learning, did you enjoy that environment? Even though you had in the back of your mind what you want to do, but you have to learn this boring stuff of schoolwork consistently, maths on a Friday, all of this and that.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that school environment?
I didn't mind it actually. Yeah, it was quite fun, quite cool. The homework part, not so much. I just wanted to get home and just relax, but we get responsibilities, and that's one of them. So even though I didn't enjoy it, I think it was also pretty useful to have it.
So, in your perspective, do you think schoolwork or even education is really important?
Definitely, yeah. If we don't have a solid education, then so many industries are just going to go under the water. We're not going to have many financial services, social services, all these types of really important services that contribute to society. We just not exist. You still want to keep some sort of knowledge about the wider world rather than just being so focused on one small thing, because you'll end up missing out on a lot of information. Um, so I feel stuff more real world related, especially, that's pretty beneficial for people in my position.
Going back into the world of racing, and even in your personal life, racing and personal life, who is your biggest inspiration?
Of life in general, definitely my mom. Coming from not much at all to being able to support me, to help get me to where I need to be for every single race. Yeah, she's just been arguably one of the biggest inspirations of my life. I could have done without it, to be honest. Yeah,
Who is your biggest inspiration on the track?
the one I'd say the most inspiring for me would have to be Lewis Hamilton.
Mm.
He grew up not too different from what I have. Just trying to find a way in racing, and he's managed to do it successfully. And now he's using his platform to encourage others to bring about positive change in the world. And I just find that really inspiring. It's like still a bit of faith for humanity.
And what was your first race like? Because I can imagine being there for the first time, seeing new faces, and people already looking at you like this is the newbie. What was it like?
So for my first, I'll say competitive race, it not the best, I'll be honest, because I was there complete rookie, no experience in real world racing. So that was more like a learning session for me in a way. I would have finished miles behind the leader. And I think I was maybe like 2, 3 seconds a lap slower. So I
Oh
had a lot
wow!
to learn.
Oh wow!
Uh, yeah.
Well,
So not
honestly,
off to the best start, but
honestly, I cannot talk because when we went racing, I was talking a lot of smack. I was like, "No, I'm gonna smoke you. Trust me. You will not see me. I'll literally be lapping you time and time again." And I probably came back around like seventh or eighth, but we're not gonna talk about that. You were just dominating that whole show. So I mean, I see where you're coming from when it comes to like being there for the first time, and you realize the difference between actually racing on like a game and doing it in real life because it takes a
yeah.
lot to do that. And how do you manage your racing career as well as education? And also you said you have a business as well. So how do you manage
Yeah.
all those three things into one spectrum?
College is something I can't really avoid. It's something I have to go to unless I get like a job or something.
Mm.
So what I'll do after getting home from college, I'll have a rest for like an hour, maybe an hour or two. If I'm not racing on that night or getting ready to go to a race, I'll hop into my laptop, do as much business work as I can. Um, yeah, and then if I'm going out for a race that night, I'll same again, come home, have a snack, maybe rest for like an hour or two, have tea slightly early, so I've just got a bit more energy for the race. Then I'll set off, and just hope it all goes as well as possible, really.
To like being a racer, and of course going back to like your first race, for my example, being in an industry for the first time and learning new things can be a little bit of a challenge. So does your mindset have a key factor on the track? Is your mentality a key factor on the track?
100%, yeah. Because if you go into a race not expecting much, you're not going to get much out of it. If you go into a race with high hopes, high standards, you know you're going to want to push for those standards. And if you don't succeed in those standards, you're going to go like, right, where did I go wrong? How can I improve? How can I get quicker? And that, I feel, just builds you up, makes you a better driver, makes you a better racer, more consistent as well.
How you face your challenges?
I look at them with a more optimistic perspective. It's more like, instead of just seeing it as a challenge and as a barrier, as something I can't avoid,
Mhm.
I'll see the barrier and think, how can I get around it? How can I get past this? How can I get to a certain lap time? How will I overtake or defend? How will I learn from this? And then I'll use whatever I've learned in that previous race, apply into my next race, and usually I get a much better result from it.
For like the younger generation out there who want to become a go or even like a racer, for example, let's say for the younger generation watching this and want to become racers and want to make sure that they're striving in their education as well as having a business on the side just in case if everything does not fall into plan, what would you tell them?
I'd say do the careers, do your business, do your racing, but also stay in education because they're all equally as important. Uh, you've got to try and find a way of managing it, whether you've got your parents or siblings or other family members helping you out with your business or your racing. Just managing your time wisely, managing your money wisely as well, because that's also very important. But most of all, do it and enjoy it.
Do you think friends, choosing the right friends plays a big factor in your life?
Definitely, yeah. Because if you're surrounding yourself with the right people, the good friends, they'll help build you up. You'll all see success together. But you've just got to be careful with what information you share with them, because sometimes they might take that, use it to their own advantage, and maybe even bring you down a bit. So you've got to be careful.
What would you tell yourself now to you in the past?
What would I say? Big one. Don't crash.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Wherever there's an overtaken opportunity, just go for it. If it doesn't work out, there's always going to be another corner where you can try. But don't smash into people as well, because you don't want to get a bad reputation on the track, because then people just won't like you. You're not going to get any good relationships on track, off track. So yeah.
You talked about respect. So does respect go a long way? Does respect go a long way for other drivers as well as your team and the way you communicate to other people?
Yeah, respect does go a really long way. Because from my experience a lot on racing cleanly, racing with respect, I've managed to gain a fair few friends on track. And I feel that from that, I've been able to gain some more tips from them. And we've just managed to help each other become quicker drivers overall. And it's always nice seeing each other at the track as well. Yeah.
Can imagine. And when you talk about like respect, it goes a long way, especially like you don't see it. Sometimes there'll be a person who's always there watching your every move, and the moment you act out of character, they'll realize it straight away, and they'll obviously be quick to be like, that's not the person that we realized that you were, and you could probably lose sponsorships from that as well. So I definitely see where you're coming from. You said that you have a business, so talk to me about that.
Well, my business is called We're Different. It's a clothing brand, actually. I'm wearing it.
Oh
Wearing
wow,
some right now. Yeah.
amazing,
On sale right now.
amazing.
Yeah, it's a clothing brand I started up last year. It started off with my mom coming up to me saying, "Where did I start a clothing brand?" I just looked at her with like complete shock, even like, You want me to start a business? Have you seen these guys on the high street to compete with them? It took a couple months of convincing, and I was like, you know what, may as well. I've got nothing to lose. So I started researching into it, looking for suppliers, what I can do. So I found my supplier, started making designs, had to delete a fair few, had to save a fair few. Just a lot of trial and error. It's a big process in that. But despite all that, I've managed to make my own website, get it up and running, start selling products, and yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
what do you think makes a brand unique? Because nowadays everything's accessible for everyone. Like someone can literally wake up one day and be like, I want to start a business, put a little bit of money into a Shopify account, start making their website and get everything sorted and done for. But the reason why some people are saying I want to start a business but I don't know how to is because it lacks a little bit of personality. So what makes your brand different from the others? And it even says in the name, we're different. What makes it
Yeah.
different?
So for my brand, one of the biggest differences compared to regular clothing is the material it's made from. A lot of clothes they're made from like cotton or polyester. Mine is made from a 100% renewable organic cotton, and it's made in a factory, completely powered by renewable resources. So it's very nearly carbon zero. You'll see it all on my website, the story and how these clothes are made.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I think the material as well. It is. I love wearing my own hoodies around. I'm like a walking advertisement.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
never. I don't think you'll see me going out the house without wearing at least one of my jumpers, like made from the brand. So it's good that you're wearing your own jumpers. Honestly, your own brand. You got.
I mean, the thing is, like, I can wear it all year round because in the winter it keeps me warm enough, but in summer, in warmer months especially, I'm not like sweating because it's August now and I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm perfectly fine.
Well, for me, I'm literally in the trenches right now because it is boiling over here. I had to bring out my old plain unreleased shirt from my brand. I can't even speak right now. I'm drenched in heat at the moment, but it's good to see that you're doing something that's really good for the environment economically and literally doing the most for the planet, which is amazing. What would you tell the young generation, the people watching who want to but don't know how to?
Research. You've got so many videos available to you on YouTube. You've got so many websites available. All it just takes is just one little click, and you've got everything you need right in front of you. Just got to write your notes down, make sure you understand what you're doing, and once again, go for it. Because if you're starting off young, you've got nothing to lose. Sure, it might cost you a little bit every now and again for domain names, for costs. But aside from that, you may as well just start. It's not that much. And in the long run, providing everything goes to plan, you can make yourself an absolute fortune from that.
When it comes to everything that you have, the business as well as the karting, and moving on to college, which is such a great achievement. What do you think is the biggest? Name some of the biggest, even if you can't even think of one. The biggest achievements that you have.
I think one of my biggest achievements was winning a sim racing championship many years ago. I've got a little trophy. It's only small, but
Oh, that's amazing.
Trophy's a trophy.
Trophy's a trophy, honestly.
So yeah, I think this one was. Yeah, I was really happy with that. I'm trying to think because I've done a lot of racing. I did a karting championship last year, and it was like a month after I managed to get my first racing license. So I was completely inexperienced in this. But I managed to make it about halfway through the entire championship because you've got knockout stages.
Wow.
So to beat a few thousand people was pretty decent for a first ever attempt at it.
That's crazy. That's literally insane because I bet you're dealing with people who have a mass amount of experience, people who have like put so much money and drive it into the sport, making sure that they're on the tippity top of things. And you're just there going in there, beating at least a couple of thousand of people, which is insane. The go-karting section of sports or even the motor racing part of sports, let's say it's more of a elitist sport. It's
Yeah,
majority or predominantly white, a white sport. And looking down at the generations who want to be calm racers and look at Hamilton and be like, that is amazing. I want to do what Hamilton did, but they don't have the money or resources to do so. Even in the golfing sector, where you have the likes of Jack Nicklaus, who's predominantly white, people in golf who are predominantly white, and then Tiger Woods going in there and dominating that sport, and people being like, I want to be like Tiger Woods. What would you change in the sports industry to make the elitist sports per se open for everyone?
start off with making junior categories like low level karting much more accessible, much more cheaper. Because I've read stories about so many young talents not being able to make it through to the big levels of sport just because they don't have enough money or there isn't any type of center close by where they can actually practice their skills.
Mm,
And I feel that's a big letdown in the sports world because at the end of the day, millions, if not billions, of people love sports, love people succeeding in these sports. And to
mm,
see all these young talents, the next generation of our sports people, not being able to make it through to the big ranks, it is quite upsetting in a way.
mm,
So, because I know with football, that's easily accessible. There's football pitches everywhere. It only takes about a minute to set up a football pitch with four cones and a ball.
mm.
But stuff like golf courses and racetracks, they take a long time to build. So I feel it's just not accessible enough at the moment. But bringing the costs down, trying to open more centers for young people, even having camps for young people to just express their passion for that sport will go a long way.
So backing off of what you talked about on what you could change in the sport, what do you love so much about the sport?
I love all of it, to be honest. I love the competition, especially. Without the competition, there's no sport.
Mm,
And it sounds quite weird to say, but I also love the failures because the
mm,
failures are what you learn from. It's what makes you stronger and a better competitor. So I
mm,
feel those failures, learning from them, improving upon yourself, I just love that.
mm.
And I felt even after a really tough race, knowing I can learn from that is, yeah, I can't describe it any other way.
Amazing. And I heard someone say that L's are not losses, they're lessons that we can learn to make a win. And
Yeah,
at first you're just like, whoa, that's quite deep. And then when you put that into those words into your own scenario or into a point of view where you understand it, you'll be like, wow, that's actually quite true because you learn from the mistakes that you've learned to make yourself better. So when that opportunity arises once more, you will be perfectly fine. You'll know what to do and try and overachieve from that circumstance. So I think what you said was great. Now, moving on to the fan base, a wide fan base when it comes to motor racing because there's MotoGP, which is motorcycle
yeah,
racing. You got F1, obviously the famous F1, cars going around
yeah,
like crazy. And then you got go-karting, and then you got now I saw Formula One as well, Formula E as well, which is
yeah.
the electric version of Formula One. And then I'm now seeing e-scooters going
Oh,
around.
yeah.
so
I've
so
been
like
seeing those as well.
so what do you think about like the way motorsports is now going upwards and outwards to everyone who can access it around the world.
I love it. I love seeing all these championships being much more televised around the world, bringing motorsports to a much more global stage. Because I could list so many different categories, and no one's ever heard of them. So I still feel there's a bit to go, but even still now, compared to 5, 10 years ago, motorsports was just a very niche market. But now it's everyone's heard of Formula One, everyone's heard of MotoGP. We all know roughly what the cars look like, what the bikes go like. So yeah, I think the way motorsports has progressed into the wider world, it's been amazing how far it's come.
And I even forgot to mention like IndyCar, NASCAR. Like
Yeah,
for me, I don't even I know motorsports on a broad perspective, but I'm more into F1. But the more I watch F1, you're like you cannot get enough of it. Like you go down a rabbit hole of so many different things, and just knowing that it's accessible for everyone is insane. Like you can go to MotoGP and be like, oh, I love the Ducatis. And you can go to
yeah.
IndyCar and be like, oh my God, I love this. And it just keeps on going down and down. So for me, I just like the fan base a lot. And what do you think the negative thing is with the fan base? Like, where do you think there should be a full stop or underlying factor where everything should just be like, okay, that's enough for now?
I think especially in the past, since 2021, especially the toxicity, especially in Formula One with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, that
Oh,
there's been a lot of controversy about that. I've seen a lot of stuff which people really shouldn't have said. But yeah, I just feel stuff like that, it goes too far, quite a lot. Uh, and at the end of the day, these guys are colleagues. They go to the same workplace and
mm.
just drive around in a circle for a long time. So I feel really taking it almost to a personal level when you're not that driver, it's taking it too far.
Mm. And do you know, because I was watching F1, I started watching F1 around 2019. But back in the day, I used to watch 2013 Formula One here and there, the Vettel days and
Oh,
the Jensen Button days, even back in 2009, when
yeah,
when the TV was switched on, I used to just watch cars go around and be like, what's going on here? Now, I started professionally watching F1 at 2019,
professionally
and
watching.
professionally watching is crazy. It sounds like I take a medal and put it on my chest saying I started watching F1 at 2019. What have you got to say about that? I have 2019 is a special place in my heart. But
Yeah,
I think when it came to Abu Dhabi 2021, I think that was when controversy happened as well as the fan base exploding. When everyone
yeah,
started to watch that race in particular, the whole world was set a storm. Twitter was going crazy, Instagram was going crazy, and I think that's how the fan base started to multiply into millions and millions and millions. And seeing how it was affecting people, even like the likes of Latifi, for example, who did not even ask for the crash. People were like, "Oh, this was literally a plot. This was a plan." Da, 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 da. How like I wonder how those drivers feel. And coming from your
yeah.
perspective, how does that feel for like you? Do you feel like the pain for like those type of drivers who unintentionally do it, but everyone makes it seem like it's been by force or by higher power?
Yeah, it'll definitely hurt the driver's feelings. You know, because he was a rookie. Was he a rookie in 2021? I don't remember. But
Um, it's been a while. I can't lie, it's
yeah.
been a while. But yeah.
But even still, earlier the day before or something, Kimi Raikkonen, world champion in Formula One, made the
Oh
exact
yeah.
same mistake
Mm,
in the exact same corner. So I feel like people blaming him for Hamilton losing the championship, it's not right. He was just trying to race, and he did a common mistake anyone can make.
mm.
So attacking a driver for your favorite driver's own loss, it's just not worth it, to be honest.
Now, speaking on F1 moments, name me a couple of your favorite F1 moments right now, like 5 of the best F1 moments you could remember, and I'll try and match it as well.
Okay, I'll go Ayrton Senna's 1988 Monaco pole lap. I think Alonso and Vettel finishing the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix side by side.
Mm.
I want to say like the entire 2018 season.
Oh,
I love that.
I was not even on it. I wish I was though. Like
Oh,
I go back to like F1 highlights and I see like 2018. I'm like, wow, is this what I missed out on?
yeah, it
Crazy.
was something else. When Hamilton set the record for the most wins in Formula One history,
Oh yeah.
that's a big achievement. This is tough.
Because there's so many moments. There's so many
Yeah,
things that you have to think about because you say one thing one time and you'd be like, in the back of your mind, you'd be like, how about how about this right there? Why don't you use that one? Like you think of so many different moments, so many iconic moments as well.
I think for the final one, I'll have to go Lewis Hamilton's 2021 Brazil drive from start at last to first. That was just class in
Absolutely
every single way.
crazy,
Just amazing how we did it.
crazy. And for me, I think the 2021 season in general, that was probably one of the most exciting seasons in F1
Oh yeah,
history. I mean, that's a hot take because there's so many moments in F1, or probably many seasons in F1 where everything's been chaotic. Like you could even push in the 2009 Jensen Button season in there. You know, that's
oh,
one of the most historic ones ever because there were so many crashes and whatnot. 2013 when Pasta was
oh.
was it 2013 where he
It
won?
was 2012, I think, when he won.
2012,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was in Spain. Yeah.
2012, exactly, yeah, 2012, 2013. People will be like, those are the best seasons in F1 history. But for me personally, I say 2021 because it wasn't even the front of the pack, which was going crazy. It was the
Steven was
lower
back in school.
ranks. It was like everywhere. Wherever you turn your head in the F1 season, there's always drama. There's always the McLaren versus the Alpines, and then Mercedes versus Red Bull, with Ferrari sneaking in there a little bit. It was
Yeah,
the craziest season for me because there was so much drama.
that's what I loved so much about 2021. Like the old regulation cars were so much better than these current
Mm,
ones. And I find that quite contradicting because the whole point of these regulations was to encourage better, closer racing.
mm.
Clearly, that's not happened because Red Bull, they've just stormed off down the track, leaving everyone else behind. But in 2021, it was just so much better. Like, it was I don't know how to describe it, but it was more like a proper challenge for drivers.
Mm.
But then that challenge helped so many more battles just to go on. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it.
Honestly,
Yeah,
Ocon 2021, I think, Hungary or Belgium.
yeah,
Belgium when he
Hungary. Yeah,
won, I could not believe it. Like you could actually see drivers coming out at their very,
yeah.
very best and making sure that they push themselves to the absolute limit. And that's probably one of my favorite seasons of all time. I didn't even start off my list even.
Oh my god.
No, I was just talking about 2021. So for me, it will be the 2021 season, all of it. Loved every single moment of it. Now there's so many moments because I could literally
Yeah.
go back to the Nicky Lauda days
Oh
where
yeah.
the infamous
Oh
fireball crash. There's so many moments in history where it went crazy. And for me, it'll probably be the Senna race in Brazil where he lost a
oh
couple
yeah.
of gears and he only had to stay in the fifth gear or like the fourth gear.
Oh,
It's been so long. I need to go back and watch it. But I
same.
think I think that to me was historic because it showed the tenacity, the drive. It literally showed everything you would want in a racer. God, I have a long way to go. I have to sneak
It's
in
not easy.
Monaco. It's not easy at all.
It
I can't
isn't.
believe it. It's not easy whatsoever. This isn't in no chronological order because you cannot put this in no order. I do not want to get flamed at all. I do not want anyone to be DMing me saying, "You forgot about this. How can you put this before that? That was more history." I don't want any of that. So
Yeah.
in no chronological order, please, please. I have to add a Monaco race in there because for me, Monaco is a historic track. I went um in 2016 and I did not realize that I was there the week that they had races going on. I was there for qualifying, and back in 2016 that's when they had the chrome silver Mercedes cars coming out, the
Yeah.
old school
Oh,
Ferraris, it was
that
so
was amazing.
amazing time. Off the top of my head, I would have loved to say Leclerc if he won a Monaco
Oh
Grand
yeah,
Prix. If he actually won one, I'll be like, that's historic
that's the
because
highlight.
it's basically like Lando Norris winning Silverstone. Iconic, like Sergio Perez's last to first race as well
Oh yeah,
in I think that
Bahrain, I
was
think.
in yeah Bahrain, yeah, Bahrain. Was it Bahrain? Yeah, it was Bahrain. Starting from the back of the grid to the front of the grid. For him, you could actually see that he wanted this win so bad, and it was so unexpected as well. And seeing him come up on top, and to see where he is right now, with Red Bull is quite astonishing. So that's probably three. Four, my goodness gracious me. Um,
Because I can list so many others, but I don't want to take yours.
exactly. But Vettel Red Bull reign in 2013, his last win, I'd say. I think that's iconic because he showed time and time again that he can dominate, and especially at a young age, with basically everyone saying that he's probably one of the worst drivers, yada yada yada. No
Yeah.
experience, and he did it time and time again. I'll add a meme in here. It'd probably be Fernando Alonso, 2012, staring into the abyss of death, staring
Oh,
down
I know what you mean. Yeah.
at a wall the whole time. For me, that is iconic. As I don't care what anyone else says, that is the most iconic moment ever because you could actually see the pure frustration in his eyes. Crazy, honestly, crazy.
The
But
final race as
final
well.
race as well is crazy. Now I'm back into my Formula One mind. I'm now going back digging through the archives. Hamilton, fifth, Brazil. That was crazy.
Oh yeah.
First ever championship. Insane. You see Ferrari going crazy. You see everyone going insane. For me, that's iconic as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's my five right there. If you could add like a moment that like literally says F1 to you, like if there's a moment that says F1, what would it be?
I don't know. Um, I think. Oh, I really don't know now.
This is tough.
Um,
Honestly, I think I should make like a separate channel and make a F1 dedicated podcast. Just talking
yeah,
about everything that's happened in F1. Because
you should.
honestly, the list is endless.
I really don't know. I'm just trying to remember one of the best races I've watched.
Mm.
Um, Bahrain, 2014, the battle between Rosberg and Hamilton.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a
That is
that was a good battle.
if you could go to a race, like if you could go to a track, what track would you go to and watch like a whole 3 days, the practice, the qualifying, and then the actual race itself?
I think the track I would go to would be Spa in Belgium. I
Mm,
love that track so much. I mean, 2021, that was also interesting in
mm,
its own right. Um, but yeah, I just feel obviously going down the hill out of turn one, Eau Rouge Radion, it's just an amazing complex of corners.
Honestly. Then now my mind is literally just set on Monte Carlo. I just love that track to bits because I wish that the car regulations or even the regulations of the track itself changed. What would you leave the next guest with? If you could ask a question or leave a question with the next guest on the podcast, what would it be?
I would ask, what has inspired you to do what you do, and what will continue to inspire you as you go throughout your career?
And is there a certain reason why you asked that question?
I just think it's quite cool to see people's backstories, see where they're coming from, the drive, the passion for their career, their chosen choice, and what they do in life. And yeah, and how in depth they can get as well.
Amazing. And you're 17 now, right?
Yep.
And let's say you, when you're 20 or 21 or 23, what would you tell yourself now? What's the note that you will leave yourself now to you in the future?
I'm going to say, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on racing. Keep on with your business. Just no matter how tough it gets, keep it going. Find ways to not only inspire yourself, but inspire people younger than me, inspire my peers, and help make a positive impact to the environment around me.
Amazing. Emmanuel, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Hopefully we have you again on here soon. It's been a wonderful time having you.
It's been great being on here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
No worries. Anytime. All right.
All right.
In a bit.
In a bit.